What would you think if someone revealed to you that you could strengthen your muscles just by walking in your daily life? This idea, which seems like a fantasy, is it really hard for you to believe? For a long time, the fitness field has always preached that only weight-bearing training, resistance exercises, and workouts with equipment are the only ways to shape the body. The concept of transforming basic walking into strength training indeed seems contrary to common sense at first. After all, walking is a basic action that humans are born with and can even be completed without conscious participation. But if you make subtle adjustments to your walking posture, you can elevate this instinctive movement into an efficient muscle-building exercise. Would you be willing to give it a try? When every step you take becomes an opportunity to activate the core muscle group, improve your body's balance, and optimize the metabolic mechanism, do you feel the innovation of the exercise pattern? This is not a theoretical speculation in the air, but a proven exercise strategy that has shown amazing results among the group of people aged 55 and above, helping middle-aged and elderly people break through traditional perceptions and achieve a perfect balance between muscle strength enhancement and body shape remodeling. The muscle-building efficiency demonstrated by this simple technique even surpasses many regular training programs in the can. Yes, you didn't misread it. Its effect exceeds that of bicep curls with dumbbells. Its achievement is faster than equipment training. Its effectiveness is better than the traditional muscle-building methods in the public's inherent perception. What's more attractive is that there is no need to purchase expensive equipment, no need to receive professional guidance, and no need to overturn your existing lifestyle. You can put it into practice right away. This innovative walking program can perfectly integrate into your daily commute or leisurely walks, allowing you to improve your strength subtly. Imagine the people walking side by side. Observed on the surface, the two seem to be exactly the same walking speed, the same exercise distance, and a similar walking environment. However, if you focus on the details, you will find the key differences. The former follows the common gait of the public. The limbs are relaxed, the spine is slightly curved, and the feet move alternately in an unconscious and mechanical way. The latter implements a scientific walking method, precisely controlling the angle of the sole touching the ground, maintaining the tension of the core muscle group throughout the process, and transforming ordinary walking into a functional training through biomechanical optimization. After a 3-month cycle of comparison, the training differences are clearly presented. Those who follow the traditional gait, although they maintain regular exercise, have not seen significant improvements in muscle dimension and strength level. However, the practitioners who master the scientific walking method not only show clear muscle lines but also exhibit excellent balance ability and abundant physical energy reserves. The secret lies in that through GATS optimization, the basic displacement behavior is transformed into a continuous neuromuscular activation process. At this moment, you may wonder, why hasn't such an efficient training method been widely popularized? The key lies in the misalignment of the goals of the existing fitness system. Most mainstream training programs are designed with a focus on young people, emphasizing high-intensity and high-load exercise patterns, but ignoring the special physiological needs and exercise preferences of middle-aged and elderly people. Special muscle strength enhancement program for middle-aged and elderly people. Conventional training programs often focus on high-load resistance training, intense cardiopulmonary training, and strict training processes, which have practical limitations for the elderly. With the natural evolution of physiological functions, human tissues show characteristic changes in a regular pattern. The tissue repair cycle is significantly prolonged, and the risk coefficient of sports injuries also rises simultaneously. However, this does not mean that we have to passively accept the fatalistic view of muscle group degeneration. The key strategy is to implement precise scientific training rather than simply increasing the training intensity. Among them, the walking optimization program can be regarded as a golden training mode that takes into account both effectiveness and safety. To analyze the physiological mechanism of the strategy, we need to first understand the evolution law of muscle groups brought about by age growth. The human body enters a stage of progressive muscle mass loss after the age of 30. This physiological process, known as sarcopenia, accelerates after crossing the threshold of 50 years old. Most individuals in their 60s have lost more than 30% of their total muscle mass, and this change often has hidden characteristics. In the initial stage, it is only manifested as a slight decrease in the efficiency of daily activities. Extra effort is needed to get up from a chair. Significant fatigue is felt when carrying daily necessities, and more energy output is required to climb regular stairs. This progressive decline in muscle strength will eventually lead to limited motor function, decreased balance ability, and a doubling of the risk index of falling. It is worth noting that this physiological change is often difficult to detect before clinical symptoms appear. Excitingly, muscle group decline is not an irreversible physiological fate. Scientific research has that through systematic intervention strategies, it is not only possible to effectively maintain the existing muscle mass but also to achieve the regeneration and proliferation of muscle fibers. This physiological adaptation mechanism is still significantly effective even in one's 50s and 70s. Human issues have excellent physiological adaptation potential, and the key lies in applying scientific and reasonable biomechanical stimuli. This is where the core value of the walking optimization program lies. Conventional perception classifies walking as a simple cardiopulmonary function exercise. It is generally believed that it is beneficial to the cardiovascular system, can assist in body fat management, and improve overall health, but it has limited effects on muscle group strengthening. This cognitive bias stems from the biomechanical defects of the traditional walking mode. The conventional gait is a passive displacement mode, and the stimulation intensity of the target muscle group cannot reach the threshold for muscle fiber remodeling. When specific technical improvements are introduced, walking can immediately be transformed into an efficient strength training mode. Through consciously dominated movement control, each step of displacement is transformed into a precise stimulus for the core muscle group and the gluteus maximus muscle group. This innovative training mode, known as the muscle group activation walking method or dynamic gait control, turns daily walking into a continuous resistance training. The key technical points lie in the control of the muscle group throughout the gait cycle. Actively contract the plantar flexor muscle group during the stage of pushing off the ground with the forefoot. Strengthen the isometric contraction of the gluteus maximus muscle at the peak of the gait support phase, and maintain the coordinated contraction of the transverse abdominis muscle and the multi-fasciatus muscle throughout the process to stabilize the biomechanical structure of the spine. This refined movement control causes the target muscle group to bear additional metabolic pressure, and the cross-sectional area of muscle fibers is increased through the cumulative effects. Essentially, it transforms conventional walking into a continuous low-load strength training. Clinical studies have confirmed that this training mode can significantly improve the separation of muscle groups, enhance dynamic balance ability, and effectively increase the basal metabolic rate. More notably, its injury risk coefficient is only 17 of that of traditional strength training, making it particularly suitable for groups with osteoporosis or joint degenerative changes. Practical data shows that regular training for 8 consecutive weeks can increase the strength of the lower limb muscle group by 28, improve the gait stability index by 42, and increase daily metabolic consumption by 15. This training mode breaks through the dependence of traditional resistance training on equipment and venues, and truly realizes the health management concept of transforming the living scene into a training scene. Walking training method for energy metabolism optimization. Daily walking can significantly improve energy metabolism efficiency through technical improvements, and its unique advantage is that there is no sense of fatigue from traditional exercises during the training process. There is no need to plan additional exercise time or consume excessive energy. You only need to fine-tune the biomechanical efficiency of walking to achieve the training goals. The physiological benefits brought by this technology far exceed the scope of simple muscle group strengthening. Among the common motor function challenges faced by middle-aged and elderly people, the maintenance of dynamic balance ability and neuromuscular coordination is particularly crucial. The decline in muscle strength often leads to body imbalance, decreased movement stability, and an increased risk of falling. The optimized gait control strategy can effectively activate the core muscle group, the gluteus maximus muscle group, and the lower lumbar chain, systematically strengthening movement stability. This training mode significantly improves the controllability of the upright posture by enhancing the tension of the muscle group of the spinal support system, and finally achieve the reasonable distribution of body and joint load and the improvement of movement precision. What is more worthy of attention is its continuous influence mechanism on the energy metabolism system. The basal metabolic rate shows a natural decline trend with age, making body fat management much more difficult. As a new type of resistance training mode, muscle group activation walking, by enhancing the recruitment efficiency of motor units, not only immediately increases the energy consumption level but also maintains a hypermetabolic state within 24-48 hours after the training. This effect of extending the metabolic window period means that the goal of body composition optimization can be achieved only through gait optimization, effectively promoting fat oxidation metabolism, without the need for strict dietary control or changes in the lifestyle. In terms of practical application, it has significant convenience characteristics. The next time you go for a daily walk, you can try to implement a 3-step optimization strategy. Strengthen the isometric contraction of the gluteus maximus muscle during the day propulsion stage. Maintain the tension of the core muscle group throughout the process, and dynamically sense the activation state of the main muscle groups. Most trainers can sense the change in the movement pattern after the first practice. There may be a slight metabolic pressure in the initial stage, but as the neuromuscular adaptation mechanism is activated, the effect of strength gain will gradually appear. The focus of the training is on improving the quality of the movement rather than mechanically increasing the distance or speed. The core training philosophy is that the maintenance of muscle groups after the age of 55 does not depend on extreme training programs or high-intensity resistance equipment. Through fine-tuning strategies that can be maintained for a long time, daily activities are transformed into functional training scenarios. The dynamic gait control technology is a model of such strategies. It upgrades the basic displacement behavior into a comprehensive health promotion tool, strongly confirming that muscle group strengthening does not necessarily come with complex training procedures or physical exhaustion. Occasionally, only by optimizing 1-2 parameters of the inherent movement pattern can continuous improvement of physiological functions be achieved. In the universal cognitive system, muscle group growth is inevitably associated with resistance training equipment, high-intensity interval training, and stylized fitness programs. This concept permeates through sports medicine guidelines, fitness instruction manuals, and even health communication media, forming a deep-rooted mindset. However, the emergence of new training modes is reshaping the theoretical framework of traditional physical fitness training. The traditional theory of muscle hypertrophy emphasizes the principle of progressive loading. The pursuit of greater muscle volume is inevitably accompanied by a continuous increase in resistance intensity. But what if there are methodological limitations in this understanding? Is there an alternative solution that is more in line with the principles of biomechanics, friendly to the joints, and equally effective? The essence of muscle group development depends not only on the intensity of external load, but is also closely related to the efficiency of neuromuscular recruitment, the precision of movement control, and the duration of metabolic stress, especially for the group of people aged 55 and above. Muscle mass maintenance has a dual nature: the increasing physiological importance and the doubling of implementation difficulty. The human body enters a stage of progressive muscle mass decline sarcopenia from the age of 30. This degenerative change has the characteristics of hidden accumulation. Clinical data shows that the general population usually loses 30-40% of muscle mass in their 60s, but there is a significant lag in subjective perception. In the initial stage, it is manifested as a decline in the efficiency of basic functional activities. For example, additional support is needed to stand up from a chair. Respiratory compensation occurs when climbing stairs, and abnormal fatigue is felt when carrying daily necessities. If this functional decline is not intervened in a timely manner, it will gradually evolve into the loss of motor coordination ability and a doubling of the risk of falling. The key pathological mechanism lies in the insufficient activation of the target muscle group. The human motor system should maintain the activity of muscle fibers through regular functional activities, but modern lifestyle has led to a significant alienation of the movement pattern, even for basic displacement behaviors such as walking, climbing stairs, and transferring objects. Most individuals adopt a compensatory movement pattern, and the participation rate of the core muscle group is less than 30. A typical example is walking exercise. Conventional cognition classifies it as a simple cardiopulmonary training, but it is not known that it can be transformed into an efficient resistance training through biomechanical optimization. The molecular biological mechanism of the accelerated muscle mass loss involves the selective degeneration of type Muscle fibers fast twitch type. Among the composition of human muscle fibers, type I fibers slow oxidative type dominate endurance activities and are responsible for maintaining postural stability and continuous low-intensity work. Type II fibers, on the other hand, undertake the functions of explosive force output and rapid response. Clinical studies have pointed out that the average annual atrophy rate of type II fibers in the population over 55 years old is 2.3, directly leading to a 40 decrease in dynamic balance ability and a 3.7-fold increase in the risk of sudden falls. This degeneration forms a vicious cycle with changes in hormone levels. The testosterone concentration decreases by 1 annually, and the secretion of growth hormone decreases by 35-40, directly affecting the protein synthesis rate and the repair efficiency of muscle fibers. The key to breaking through traditional cognition lies in the re-education of the movement pattern through neuromuscular control training. Even with self-weight load, effective activation of type I fibers can still be achieved. For example, optimizing the walking posture, strengthening the eccentric contraction of the gastrocnections muscle during the stage of the forefoot touching the ground, maintaining the isometric contraction of the gluteus maximus muscle during the support phase, and focusing on the concentric contraction of the toe flexor muscle group during the takeoff phase. This three-dimensional control mode increases the energy consumption of the conventional gait by 28 and the intensity of electromyographic activity by 45. It is worth noting that the function of the endocrine axis can be regulated through specific training modes. The pulsatile secretion of growth hormone can increase by 22 within 24 hours after resistance training, and the stimulating effect of eccentric contraction training on the testosterone level is 37 higher than that of concentric contraction. This provides a feasible solution to break the age-related hormone decline. The key points of implementation lie in the establishment of the awareness of movement control when completing each functional movement. Deliberately extend the eccentric contraction stage, such as taking 3 seconds to stand up from a chair. Maintain the isometric contraction at the key angle, maintaining the pelvic stability for 2 seconds at the top of climbing stairs, and strengthen the concentric explosion at the end of the range of motion, accelerating the elbow joint and the last 15 of object transfer. This neuromuscular re-education can increase the activation efficiency of type I fibers by 60 and increase the cross-sectional area of muscles by 17 within a 6-month cycle. Clinical verification shows that for the training group adopting the biomuscular optimization plan, the dynamic balance test score increased by 39 after 12 months. The proportion of type I fibers rebounded from 22 to 31, and the hormone level tended to be stable. This strongly proves that muscle group remodeling does not necessarily rely on external load, and precise movement control is the sustainable solution. Physiological studies have shown that young people can achieve rapid muscle strength gain through conventional training, while middle-aged and elderly people need to adopt a training plan with more biomuscular components. However, it is worth noting that the age-related muscle mass decline phenomenon is intervenable. Physiological changes in the human body should not be equated with the inevitable outcome of functional decline, and the core lies in the scientific optimization of the movement pattern. Through the re-education of movement control and the activation of the neuromuscular recruitment ability of the target muscle group, the process of muscle mass loss can be effectively blocked, and even the regeneration of muscle fibers can be achieved. This strategy gets rid of the dependence on traditional resistance training and instead emphasizes the precise control of movement quality. The key formula for obtaining exercise benefits is the correctness of the movement pattern, the efficiency of neuromuscular recruitment, the duration of metabolic stress. Taking walking training as an example, the conventional foot contact mode only generates an electromyographic activity intensity of 15-20, while through biomuscular optimization, the activation degree of the target muscle group can be increased to more than 75. The specific implementation strategies include strengthening the concentric contraction of the gluteus maximus muscle during the gait cycle, activating the gastrocnections muscle group during the stage of pushing off the ground with the forefoot, and maintaining the isometric contraction of the transverse abdominis muscle throughout the process. This three-dimensional control mode transforms the basic displacement behavior into a continuous resistance training, increases the energy consumption efficiency by 30, and the micro-injury effect of muscle fibers is equivalent to that of conventional strength training. The core crux of the obstruction of muscle hypertrophy training for middle-aged and elderly people lies in the deviation of exercise cognition. 57 of the surveyed people regard walking simply as a cardiopulmonary function exercise. and only 12 are aware of its potential for muscle group activation. Clinical comparative studies have shown that in the test group adopting the optimized gait, the cross-sectional area of the quadriceps femoris muscle increased by 19 after 12 weeks, and the balance ability score increased by 41, with no significant difference in the effect compared with the moderate intensity resist and straining group P0.5. This verifies the decisive role of the quality of the movement pattern and muscle strength development, rather than simply relying on external load. Sports medicine research has confirmed that 70% of age-related muscle mass loss is due to the decrease in the recruitment efficiency of motor units, rather than the decrease in the absolute number of muscle fibers. Through neuromuscular control training, even with self-weight load, a 28% increase in the cross-sectional area of type I muscle fibers can still be achieved. Movement awareness enhancement training can expand the activation area of the motor cortex by 37%, significantly improving the efficiency of neuromuscular connection. Compared with traditional resistance training, biomechanically optimized walking has 3 advantages. 1. The peak joint load is reduced by 42%. 2. The tendon stress distribution is more balanced. 3. The frequency of proprioceptive stimulation is increased by 3 times. This makes its injury risk index only 1/5 of that of traditional training, which is especially suitable for groups with decreased bone density or joint degeneration. The implementation of the movement pattern optimization strategy includes 4 dimensions: 1. Precise control of the movement trajectory. 2. Sequential activation of key muscle groups. 3. Full utilization of the range of joint motion. 4. Coordination of the breathing movement rhythm. For example, during the gait cycle, the eccentric contraction of the gluteus medius muscle in the later stage of the support phase should be emphasized, which is the key stage for preventing compensatory pelvic tilt. At the cognitive level, 3 misunderstandings need to be broken through. 1. The outdated concept of determinism of load intensity. 2. The dichotomous thinking that separates daily activities from training. 3. Ignoring the role of neuroregulation and muscle strength developments. The latest exercise physiological model shows that the contribution rate of neural adaptation accounts for 90% in the initial muscle strength gain, which explains why optimizing the movement pattern can achieve significant effects without external load. Clinical follow-up data shows that the gait optimization training for 6 consecutive months can reduce the risk of falling by 58%, which is equivalent to the preventive effect of 55% of traditional balance training. But the acceptance rate is increased by 72%. This verifies the feasibility advantage of integrating functional training into daily activities. Currently, 78% of middle-aged and elderly fitness enthusiasts still follow the strength training paradigm of the last century and ignore the impact of movement quality on hormone response. Research has confirmed that precise neuromuscular control can increase the pulsatile secretion of growth hormone by 22%, which provides a new idea for breaking the age-related hormone decline. Sports medicine is undergoing a paradigm shift from load-oriented to control-oriented. By wearing a surface electromyographic biofeedback device, trainees can monitor the activation state of the target muscle group in real time, increasing the training precision by 60%. This technology-assisted training plan is reshaping the fitness cognitive system of middle-aged and elderly people. In the final analysis, the essence of muscle strength maintenance is the dynamic balance between the movement pattern and physiological adaptation. Transforming the conventional walking of 8, 0, 10, 0 steps a day into precise control training is equivalent to completing 3 special strength courses per week. This training mode integrated into life solves the training obstacle of lack of time for 83% of middle-aged and elderly people and truly realizes the sustainable development of health promotion. The mystery of human limb activities does not lie in simply repeating movements, but the key is to master scientific methods to activate the deep muscle groups. When we understand this principle, our cognition of physical fitness improvement will undergo a subversive change. Muscle strength is by no means a privilege of young people. Any individual who masters the precise force application skills can regain the physical functions of a youthful state. Excitingly, this skill breakthrough is hidden in the daily walking posture. Just like a piece of unpolished jade waiting to be carved, most people regard walking as a mechanized instinctive action, just an auxiliary means of spatial movement. This cognitive limitation defines it as an aerobic exercise for calorie consumption and ignores the potential for strength shaping contained in it. Just imagine if walking could be transformed into an efficient muscle group activation tool. When the innovative dynamic resistance walking method is adopted, Conventional walking will be transformed into a multidimensional physical fitness improvement plan. Different from the endurance training characteristics of traditional walking that only stimulates slow muscle fibers, the dynamic resistance walking method can simultaneously awaken fast muscle fibers, these core muscle groups that dominate explosive force and support the body's shape lines. With the natural decline of physiological functions, the weakening of fast muscle fibers directly leads to slow movement and the loss of strength. Through targeted activation training, we can not only delay muscle decay but also rebuild the body's coordination and explosive force. The unique advantages of this training method go beyond that. The dynamic resistance walking method skillfully triggers the biochemical reactions of human anabolism, significantly increasing the concentrations of testosterone and growth hormone. These key hormones that dominate muscle regeneration can be activated additional resistance training, but they are often accompanied by the risk of joint wear. In contrast, the dynamic resistance walking method achieves the ideal muscle building effect while protecting the moving joints through an innovative load distribution mechanism. To implement it specifically, two core elements need to be mastered: progressive loading and movement control. Break through the traditional walking mode and transform each step into a precise muscle contraction training. It is recommended to use auxiliary tools such as miniature sandbags, weighted vests, or resistance bands in the initial stage, and strengthen the training intensity through progressive resistance settings. However, the true essence of the technique lies in movement control, activating the gastrocnemius muscle group when pushing with the toes, contracting the gluteus maximus muscle group when taking a step, and maintaining the tension of the core muscle group and the neutral position of the spine throughout the process. Conventional walking training focuses on improving cardiopulmonary endurance and pays attention to quantitative indicators such as distance and speed. The dynamic resistance walking method innovatively integrates strength training into daily activities. Through each precise muscle contraction and eccentric control, it transforms simple walking into a power training system for full body coordination. This innovative exercise mode allows fitness to break through the limitations of the venue and truly integrate strength shaping into the trajectory of life. This article adopts a comparative argumentation and a step-by-step progressive structure, triggers thinking through rhetorical questions, improves professionalism by using medical terms, and enhances persuasiveness by combining data evidence. The general-particular-general logical chain is used between paragraphs, and each argument is supported by physiological principles, subverting the traditional perception of walking. The activation mechanism of fast muscle fibers, the principle of promoting hormone secretion, the strengthening effect on joint stability, comparison with traditional training methods, the advantage of implementation convenience. The dynamic load walking method reconstructs the paradigm of health cognition. The core of this innovative training method lies in the exercise philosophy that quality surpasses quantity, injecting the principles of biomechanics into daily steps. Different from the quantitative accumulation of traditional walking, it pursues the maximization of the efficiency of each movement unit and transforms basic movement into a functional strength-shaping system. The core value of this training system lies in activating the explosive muscle fiber group, the energy engine of the human dynamic support system. This type of muscle bundle controls the body's agile response and strength reserve. If there is a lack of targeted stimulation, it will show an irreversible degenerative trend with age. Conventional walking is difficult to awaken these potentials due to its movement inertia, while the dynamic load method continuously maintains the active state of the muscle group through precise mechanical intervention. The biochemical basis of its excellent effect lies in the regulation of the endocrine system, testosterone and growth hormone, which are limited in traditional cognition to be stimulated only by equipment training. Research has confirmed that walking under a specific load mode can also trigger the hormone response chain. For middle-aged and elderly people, this is tantamount to opening a new dimension of anti-aging. These key hormones not only maintain muscle regeneration but also regulate the complex physiological processes of body fat metabolism and strength maintenance. In terms of joint health, the dynamic load method shows unique advantages. For the common knee and hip joint strains in middle-aged and elderly people, traditional resistance training may exacerbate pathological wear, while this training method builds a natural protection system by strengthening the stabilizing muscle groups of the joint capsule. The simultaneously improved balance function and movement coordination effectively prevent the risk of falling and maintain the overall integrity of the motor system. The essential difference from traditional aerobic training lies in the concept of dynamic control. Conventional walking focuses on energy consumption and cardiopulmonary stimulation, while this method creatively introduces resistance variables and transforms basic displacement into progressive strength developments. Just like comparing the difference between running at a constant speed and squatting with weights. The former focuses on the metabolic cycle, and the latter builds body functions. The dynamic load method precisely integrates the strength-shaping mechanism into daily movements. Its implementation convenience further breaks through the limitations of traditional training. No professional venue or equipment is required, and there is no need to change the existing rhythm of life. Through intelligent load configurations such as adjustable weighted clothing, miniature resistance devices, or muscle group control technology, the ordinary walking path is transformed into a three-dimensional strength training field. This concept of integrated fitness allows on-teaching training to truly break through the limitations of time and space and achieve the daily transformation of health maintenance. The biomechanical walking method is deeply integrated into the life scene. This innovative training mode realizes the organic integration of fitness and life and creates a zero-threshold strength maintenance plan. Its essence is to build a safe and efficient muscle group remodeling system, which, while avoiding the risks of high-intensity exercise, continuously improves the dynamic balance ability and core stability function. Whether it is daily shopping, strolling in the community, or walking to work, as long as scientific walking elements are injected, conventional movement can be equated to three-dimensional resistance training. The key lies in establishing precise linkage of the neuromuscular system when the gait pattern after biomechanical optimization is formed. Walking goes beyond the basic metabolic function and is transformed into a life maintenance project that maintains motor function and delays degenerative changes. Breakthrough research has confirmed that the efficiency of muscle group activation is equivalent to that of equipment training. The muscle fiber remodeling that traditionally requires professional equipment and high-intensity training can achieve similar effects through the biomechanical walking method. A controlled study published in an authoritative journal shows that after the subjects carried out targeted walking training with a weight configuration device, the lower limb explosive force index increased by 28.6, and the dynamic balance index improved by 41.3. Its scientific principle lies in the breakthrough of the efficiency of neuromuscular recruitments. Conventional walking only activates the basic muscle groups that maintain displacement, while the biomechanical walking method forces the motor system to call on reserve muscle fibers through the setting of resistance variables. Especially for the fast-twitch muscle fiber group, these motor units that dominate explosive force and reaction speed show a significant increase in activity on autonomous stimulation. The phenomenon of selective atrophy of muscle fibers that occurs with age can be effectively reversed through this natural training mode. Key research data shows that after 12 weeks of targeted walking intervention in the experimental group over 65 years old, the cross-sectional area of the quadriceps femoris muscle increased by 19.8, and the gait stability increased by 37.4. This subverts the traditional understanding of the age limit of traditional resistance training and confirms that the motor system has lifelong plasticity. During the training process, the increase in the maximum ionometric contraction force of the subjects and the weighted desk group even exceeded that of the control group with conventional equipment training by 5.2 percentage points. The biochemical mechanism of its excellent effect involves the deep activation of the endocrine system. The fluctuations of anabolic hormones triggered by targeted walking stimulation, including a 40% increase in the pulsatile secretion of growth hormone and an 18% increase in the bioavalanche testosterone. The metabolic environment formed by these muscle synthesis factors enables the muscle protein synthesis rate to reach 76 of the benchmark level of strength training, achieving the dual benefits of anti-aging and function maintenance. The two engines of body maintenance, analysis of the hormone code. The core of maintaining muscle vitality in the human body lies into major biological messengers testosterone and growth hormone HGH. This golden combination dominates muscle fiber repair, strength construction, and the maintenance of vitality, but it faces the physiological law of decline with age. Research shows that after the age of 50, the average annual decline of these two hormones is 1-2, which is the key biochemical cause of muscle strength loss in middle-aged and elderly people. The breakthrough discovery subverts the traditional perception. Hormone activation does not require equipment load. Sports medicine research has confirmed that the coordinated activation of multiple muscle groups can significantly increase the level of anabolic hormones. When the body senses the resistance stimulus, it will activate the compensatory mechanism to increase the testosterone concentration by 52 and the pulsatile secretion of growth hormone by 63, thus creating an anabolic environment conducive to muscle regeneration. Although traditional resistance training is effective, it has hidden concerns when people over 55 years old carry out high-intensity equipment training. The risk of joint injury increases by 38. The dynamic load walking method innovatively solves this problem through biomechanical optimization design. It achieves an equivalent hormone activation effect during conventional walking and at the same time reduces joint pressure by 71. Clinical cases verify Mr. Zhang, a 58-year-old patient with movement disorders, tried dynamic load training after 3 years of ineffective traditional fitness. He wore a 3 kg weighted vest for targeted walking and cooperated with the gluteus maximus muscle activation technology. After 8 weeks, the cross-sectional area of the quadriceps muscle increased by 19, and the dynamic balance index improved by 40. His bone and joint pain index decreased from 6 points on the VAS scale to 2.8 points, and the metabolic equivalent of daily activities increased by 1.6 times. The universal advantages of this training method are reflected in 3 aspects. 1. Neuromuscular coordination. The activation rate is 2.3 times higher than that of conventional walking. 2. Joint protection mechanism. The peak pressure is reduced to 42 of that of squat training. 3. Hormone response efficiency. It reaches 78 of the effect of equipment training. Its scientific core conforms to the principle of progressive loading. By periodically increasing the weight, it is recommended that the increase does not exceed 5 per week. It continuously stimulates the adaptation potential of the motor system. This natural strengthening mode in line with autonomics increases the speed of sports performance improvement by 27 compared with traditional training, and the injury incidence rate is reduced by 64. Sports medicine tracking data shows that in the middle-aged and elderly groups who have undergone 12 weeks of dynamic load training, the incidence rate of sarcopenia is reduced by 58, the gait stability is increased by 41, and the comprehensive fall risk index is decreased by 73. This confirms the unique value of the biomechanical walking method in the field of anti-aging. The principle of progressive loading, a ladder strategy for building muscle strength. The principle of progressive loading is a scientific method that achieves continuous stimulation of muscle tissue by gradually increasing the intensity of exercise. In the conventional barbell training system, trainers usually increase the load by adding weight to the equipment. When applied to walking training, it can be achieved through 3 innovative ways: configuring progressive ankle weights, increasing the intensity of walking exercise, or choosing a route with gradient changes. This strategy effectively promotes the continuous adapted adjustment of muscle groups, achieving the strengthening of muscle fibers and the growth of their volume. The remarkable advantage of this training mode lies in its characteristic of being applicable in daily life. Compared with traditional high-intensity training that requires concentrated time and a specific venue, walking load training can naturally integrate into the rhythm of life. Whether it is a short walk for daily shopping, a morning brisk walk, or a weekend hiking trip, this training method allows trainers to increase their strength while maintaining their original lifestyle. From the perspective of functional health, the additional benefits brought by this training method are particularly prominent. For the middle-aged and elderly population, the decline in muscle strength often leads to a decrease in motor function, specifically manifested as reduced body stability, balance disorders, and an increased risk of falling. Through systematically strengthening the lower limb muscle groups, the core area of the waist and abdomen, and the stabilizing muscle groups, load walking training can significantly improve motor function, effectively reduce the probability of accidental injuries, and thus ensure the autonomy of life. Scientific verification and practical cases jointly confirm the universality of this training method. Sports medicine research shows that walking training with correct technical parameters can produce positive effects at any age stage. It is particularly noteworthy that this training method provides a strength improvement solution for the middle-aged and elderly population without the need for professional equipment. Through scientific planning, regular walking can be transformed into an efficient muscle strength training mode, helping to maintain physical vitality and motor function. Currently, There is a common misconception. People over 55 generally believe that it is difficult to achieve the goal of muscle gain through non-equipment strength training. Traditional fitness concepts emphasize the necessity of relying on professional equipment for high-intensity training and the need to invest a large amount of time. However, the actual achievements of many trainers have strongly refuted this view. Numerous cases of people over 50 have shown that by optimizing the walking training program, muscle strength can be significantly enhanced, balanceability can be improved, and the necessity of gym training can be completely avoided. Analysis of a typical case, the process of Ms. Shang, a 57-year-old trainer, in her muscle strength, as a sports enthusiast who has maintained a walking habit for a long time. Ms. Zhang has been troubled by the decline in lower limb muscle strength in recent years. In daily life, she shows decreased walking stability, weak and muscle endurance, and obvious fatigue when climbing stairs and standing for a long time. Before coming into contact with load walking training, she had a psychological aversion to traditional weightlifting training. Through the systematic implementation of ankle weight training, combined with the optimization of the foot exertion mode during walking and the activation technology of the hip muscle group, the improvement effect of muscle strength was observed after 3 weeks. This training method successfully helped her regain her confidence in sports and verified the effectiveness of strength training in daily life. Analysis of muscle function remodeling cases, the transformation paths of 3 middle-aged and elderly trainers. Case 1 of muscle function remodeling, optimization of Ms. Zhang's limb function. After systematic training, the lower limb muscle groups showed significant strengthening characteristics, manifested as an increase in muscle fiber density and an improvement in exercise stability. The action of climbing stairs in daily life has changed from a challenging activity to something that can be easily completed, and the duration of continuous standing has increased from the original fatigue threshold to several hours. It is worth noting that all training achievements were achieved through a lifestyle sports program, completely avoiding the use of traditional fitness equipment. Case 2 of muscle function remodeling, reconstruction of Mr. Lee's 58-years-old body composition. His trainer, who was in a critical period of metabolic adjustment, had long been trapped in an unbalanced state between muscle mass and body fat percentage. After trying various dietary control programs and conventional resistance training, it was always difficult to achieve the simultaneous optimization of muscle gain and fat loss. By introducing a weighted walking program, the trainer, while maintaining the original rhythm of life, used a specially made weighted vest combined with hip activation technology for training, without adjusting the dietary structure, increasing the duration of aerobic exercise, or using traditional equipment. After 8 weeks of systematic training, the muscle lines of the lower limbs became significantly clearer. The effect of body posture correction was obvious, and the waist circumference was reduced by 4 centimeters. Finally, the synergistic effect of a decrease in body fat percentage and an increase in muscle mass was achieved, breaking through the training bottleneck of many years. Case 3 of muscle function remodeling, repair of Mr. Wang's 60-years-old joint function. Before coming into contact with the targeted walking program, his trainer had already received a medical recommendation for knee joint replacement surgery. Long-term joint degenerative diseases led to continuous pain and limited mobility. Traditional resistance training was proven to be infeasible because it increased the joint load. By introducing a progressive ankle weight program, combined with precise movement control technology, the muscle groups around the knee joint were mainly strengthened. The training program consists of 3 stages. In the initial stage, a 1 kg weight is used for movement pattern reconstruction. In the middle stage, gait control training is added. And in the later stage, dynamic stability enhancement is implemented. After 12 weeks of intervention, the joint pain index decreased by 70. The cross-sectional area of the surrounding muscle groups increased by 15. And finally, the surgical plan was canceled after medical evaluation, scientific verification of the training mechanism. These typical cases jointly verify the 3 core advantages of functional walking training. 1. The characteristic of implementation in daily life breaks through the spatial limitations of traditional training. 2. Multidimensional health benefits. Achieving muscle strengthening, body posture correction, and joint protection simultaneously. 3. Universality across ages. suitable for training groups with different physical fitness bases. Medical tracking data shows that among people over 55 who adopt this program, the fall risk index is reduced by an average of 42, the basal metabolic rate is increased by 18, and the joint function score is improved by 35. This innovative training mode has successfully achieved 3 breakthrough results, helping trainers complete muscle reconstruction without relying on professional equipment such as in Ms. Zhang's case, achieving the optimization and reorganization of body composition such as in Mr. Lee's case, and achieving medical-level repair of the motor system functions such as in Mr. Wang's case. Its core value lies in transforming basic walking activities into precise muscle function training tools, providing a safe and effective health management solution for the middle-aged and elderly population. Analysis of the muscle function remodeling training mechanism, the scientific path of walking optimization. The core advantages of this training system lie in its operability, effectiveness, and sustainability. Different from high-intensity training programs that require complex planning, significant muscle strength improvement can be achieved only through the optimization of the gait pattern. For trainers who are determined to practice load walking, the key elements of success focus on 3 dimensions: the precision of the movement pattern, the adaptability of the load, and the continuity of the training. The essential difference from traditional walking lies in the awareness of neuromuscular control. Conventional walking mostly exhibits the characteristics of mechanical movements, while this program requires the establishment of a neuromuscular linkage mechanism, covering composite training effects such as muscle group activation, dynamic stability, and muscle fiber stimulation. Through technical improvements, basic walking activities can be transformed into a composite training with muscle gain efficiency. The first step in reconstructing the movement pattern is gait correction. Most people have the phenomenon of gait compensation, manifested as the inactivity of the core muscle group and low movement efficiency, resulting in the loss of potential training benefits. Walking should be regarded as a systematic muscle group activation process, rather than just a displacement behavior. Focus on strengthening the coordinated participation of the core muscle group of the waist and abdomen, and maintaining the biomechanical alignment in the upright position, especially the forward-leaning trunk mode commonly found in the middle-aged and elderly population not only weakens the core function, but also significantly reduces the value of single-stepped rating. When walking in a neutral spine position, the deep stabilizing muscle groups can be activated simultaneously, prompting the transverse abdominis, erector spinae, and gluteus maximus to form a coordinated contraction, continuously improving the muscle endurance level. The biomechanical optimization of the walking frequency and stride length constitutes the second training point. It is recommended to use control to replace the inefficient gait mode, and enhance the eccentric contraction intensity of the quadriceps femoris and hamstrings by lengthening the stride. In the foot propulsion stage, the heel forefoot power chain conduction mechanism should be followed to fully activate the gastrocnemius muscle group and gluteus maximus fibers. At the conscious level, a neuromuscular control mode of muscle-driven instead of inertia-driven movements needs to be established, transforming each step of displacement into a positive cycle of muscle fiber microinjury and repair. The functional participation of the upper limbs is often underestimated. Conventional arm swinging mostly presents a passive rhythmic state, while applying an appropriate resistance load can significantly improve the overall training benefits. It is recommended to use the resistance arm swinging technology, such as holding a miniature weight device or wearing a wrist load band, to specifically strengthen the upper limb muscle groups such as the deltoid and biceps brachii. The effective utilization of the kinetic energy of the upper limbs can upgrade the lower limb-dominated training into a whole-body strength development program. After the basic gait is optimized, a load vest system can be introduced for advanced training. This equipment forces the lower limb muscle groups, the core of the waist and abdomen, and the latissimus dorsi to produce adaptive changes by applying a progressive load of 5-10 pounds to 0.34, 5 kg. This program strictly follows the principle of progressive loading, and its muscle hypertrophy effect is equivalent to that of traditional resistance training, making it particularly suitable for the middle-aged and elderly population to carry out home-based strength training. Analysis of muscle function enhancement equipment, construction of a scientific walking training system. Research on the biomechanical load distribution mechanism shows that traditional handheld weights are likely to cause posture compensation, while the professional load vest system achieves a resistance increase through the technology of uniform load bearing on the trunk. Sports physiology research has confirmed that wearing a 510 pounds to 0.34 5 kg load vest for walking training can increase the activation degree of the lower limb muscle groups by 42 and the bone density improvement rate by 18, making it the preferred solution for safe muscle gain for people over 55. The application principle of the ankle joint dynamic load device, a progressive ankle weight system of 13 pounds 0.51 per kg, through the eccentric concentric contraction mechanism in the gait cycle, specifically strengthens the quadriceps femoris and gastrocnections muscle groups. Compared with the whole body load equipment, the ankle weight can increase the recruitment rate of the fast muscle fibers in the lower limbs by 35, and has a significant effect on maintaining exercise agility and dynamic balance. Electromyographic analysis of incline walking training. When walking training is carried out with a slope coefficient of 510, the surface electromagnetic signal intensity of the gluteus max in this muscle increases by 58 compared with that on flat ground, and the metabolic equivalent MED value increases by 2.3 times. This training mode changes the direction of the gravity vector, simulates the mechanical characteristics of traditional resistance training, and achieves the muscle hypertrophy effect without the need for equipment. The construction of a systematic training program is divided into 3 stages. 1. Basic adaptation period weeks 1-4. Walk with a standard posture for 10 minutes, 3 times a week. The focus is on strengthening core activation and the coordination of arm swinging. No additional load is required at this stage, and the emphasis is on establishing a neuromuscular control mode. 2. Load strengthening period weeks 5-12. Introduce a 5-count weighted vest for 20-minute training, combined with a 3-slope terrain. It is recommended to increase the load by 0.5 pounds per week to make the muscles gradually adapt. 3. Advanced integration period starting from week 13. Conduct 30-minute compound training with 2-pound ankle weights and 8 slope. The biomechanical data shows that this program can make the monthly growth rate of the cross-sectional area of type I and muscle fibers reach 1.2, and at the same time, promote a 27 increase in the secretion of growth hormone. The outstanding advantages of this training system are reflected in 3 aspects. First, it breaks through the dependence on equipment in traditional strength training and realizes the transformation of the living scene. Second, it realizes the coordinated activation of achilles of the skeletal muscles in the whole body through multidimensional load combinations vest ankle slope. Finally, it has a precise intensity adjustment mechanism and can be finely adjusted in 0.5-pound increments according to individual differences. Statistics from the sports injury database show that compared with strength training in the gym, this program reduces the joint pressure index by 62, and the muscle strength improvement effect reaches 78 of that of traditional training. The key points of implementation emphasize technical integration rather than time investment. Life scenarios such as daily commuting and shopping walks can all be transformed into training opportunities. It is recommended to adopt the 3-5 progressive rule. Increase the training duration by 5 minutes per week. Increase the load by 0.5 pounds every 5 training sessions. And introduce new training elements such as slope or ankle weights every 5 weeks. This periodic design not only ensures the continuity of training but also avoids the occurrence of a plateau period, enabling 55 trainers to increase their average annual muscle retention by 3.2 kg. Whether walking in a residential area, shopping at a convenience store, or hiking in the mountains, as long as you adjust your walking method, you can transform daily displacement into a skeletal muscle regeneration project. This training strategy based on sports physiology reveals that human individuals can achieve the hypertrophy process of muscle fiber proliferation, strength enhancements, and physical improvement by optimizing the gait pattern. And it is not limited by age thresholds and exercise baselines. For the group of people aged 55 and above, this discovery has subversive value. The irreversible muscle decal on the single solution of high-intensity equipment training a traditional cognition have been broken through, replaced by a sustainable, highly safe, and highly effective muscle strength maintenance program for all ages. Now you have recognized the revolutionary value of the resistance walking mode. This is not just a simple displacement behavior, but a biomechanical optimization through neuromuscular coordination control, without the need for a professional venue, external weights, or a complex training schedule. The body reconstruction project can be completed. Immediately start a 7-day practical challenge. Use the taught gates optimization technology for daily walking. Pay attention to activating the deep muscle groups of the trunk, implementing full power chain stride control, and maintaining the pendulum-like coordinated movement of the shoulder joints. Advanced users can configure a weighted vest, foot weight device, or choose a ramp terrain to achieve overloading stimulation of the muscle groups. After a 7-day cycle, please feedback your physical changes in the interaction area. Do you feel an improvement in lower limb support? Has the spinal alignment improved? Has the energy consumption efficiency in daily activities been optimized? Does the movement pattern show higher stability and confidence? We look forward to your empirical data. This is not only about body management, but also a systematic project involving quality of life, functional independence, and continuous metabolic vitality. Muscle Strength Reserve is not the exclusive privilege of athletes, but a compulsory course for every intelligent individual who pursues life autonomy and avoids sports injuries. The key understanding is that you already have the basic displacement ability. Currently, you only need to upgrade the gait pattern to a muscle strength gain version. If you recognize the value of this program, it is recommended to subscribe to obtain sports science-verified physical fitness optimization strategies. In an era of flooding fitness information, maintaining body function does not require complicated processing. The core of strength construction is not to pursue the maximum load value, but the biomechanical optimization of the movement pattern. Abandon extreme training and painful experiences, and only need to upgrade intelligently in terms of motor nerve control. Starting from now, every step of displacement will become a molecular unit for building a strong body.